Welcome, welcome to Parenting Differently, where we leave behind that old way of parenting and allow the gifts of motherhood to raise us. So different perhaps from how we were raised, different from how society tells us to raise our kids, and maybe even different to what we expected or thought we would be raising our children with. Just different. Welcome, my name is Anja and I am your host of Parenting Differently. I'm a mum of two big people, and I came into parenting as a trained British nanny, and I thought I knew it all. I thought, this is easy. I've got parenting. I don't have to read anything. I've got this down. And boy, was I surprised that it actually wasn't so simple. And I had no idea how much this gift of motherhood that my children were raising me as I thought I was raising them. So conscious parenting really opened my eyes to the magnificence and the gifts of parenting. So I am a yoga teacher, a parenting coach, and I want to welcome today, I'll take my piece of paper down, very official. I wanted to welcome today the lovely Iffath. She is a coach, a makeup creator, and an author. And I was so curious about having Iffath on because I know that faith is very important to her. And I was very curious and excited to find out how that shows up in parenting and in mothering and in her own personal growth. So welcome, Iffath. Very happy to have you here.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
Awesome. Awesome. So let's start with that tricky question at the beginning.
Okay.
Who are you and who are you mothering?
Okay. So my name is Iffath, like you said, and I'll start with who I'm mothering because I think you gave me a fairly good introduction. It covers everything I'm doing right now, but mothering is definitely taking up most of my time, as you know, with kids being home and schooling them. So I have three little ones, and I have a daughter who's Zayda, she's 11. I have a son, Umbula, he's 9. And I have a little one that just started kindergarten. His name is Connor, and he's 5. So that's who I am right now. I'm a teacher. I'm a cook. I'm a janitor. A little bit of everything. But it's interesting because I never actually saw myself as a stay-at-home mom this much. I've always been a career woman. So I'd say this is probably the most time I've spent with them, like constantly.
Right. Oh gosh, yes.
No weekends off. No, spring break is not.
Yeah.
There's no breaks.
Yeah, and there was nowhere for you to even go. It's not even if you say, "Well, I got to get out of the house." You're like, where am I going to go?
Exactly. Like the garage or the driveway.
I'm just sitting in my car. Okay, ignore me.
Exactly. I'm not here. No.
That's right. That's right. That's fantastic. Okay, I love that answer. So, in your journey in motherhood, I mean, definitely now noticing the last 6 months of lockdown, but even in general, from your first one to your last baby, what are you sort of uncovering about yourself, about Iffath? What's kind of come to the surface for you?
Well, it's interesting because before I had my daughter, I'm a really type A personality. So, I knew that was a thing that you do. You have kids. So I was just kind of like, have baby, check. And I thought I was going to go about my life. So that was shocking to me. I mean, I was so naive, but I thought, I had it all down. I was able to manage everything. So then when she came, she had, babies, of course, need more attention than just a check mark. But, she had
that has got to be a line. That's got to be a bumper sticker. Babies need more attention than a check mark.
Right. A little bit more thought and planning.
Beautiful. I love it.
Yeah, I focused a lot on the labor because we took birthing classes, and I knew I wanted to go all natural, and I did all that, and everything that I could control, I controlled. So when she came, and I was like, what do I do with her? Like, I don't really know what to do. We're just like looking at each other. And I feel like I did not in the beginning because I wasn't mentally ready to be a mom. I don't feel like I've fully mothered her the way that I now mother my youngest. Because with her, she was there. I did, I was really strict about, the feedings that, every 3 hours and the naps and the this, like it was still very
scheduled.
scheduled, transactional, just, this is what the boss says, this is what I'm going to do. I'm laughing now because I'm like, all that really goes out the window.
Right, but it's beautiful. I don't think you're alone with that. I think that's sort of an approach, especially type A personalities, but even just career people, business people, that it's just, this is what, you're used to an organized plan. And then this little thing comes and you're like, oh, hang on a second.
Yeah.
She's not following me. She didn't read the plan.
She didn't follow that her bedtime says 7:30. Why is she not going to sleep? Did she not get the memo?
That's right.
And so that was a little bit of the way it changed my entire life. Like the way I always looked at it is like, when you have, husband and wife, okay, that's one way you're living. I feel like your life changes the most when you have the first one. Then when you have number two, it's not that different because you're already used to, doing everything on kid time. And then by the time you have number three, we're all just following number one's schedule.
Right. Right. So was it sort of a shock to you, like in the uncovering? Was it instant, or you think a little way in that you suddenly went, whoa, I actually don't have control? Was that an actual conscious thought, you think, or it just kind of developed?
I wish I had realized that sooner. Because I think what happened was I beat myself up about it for a long time. Like, why don't I have this together? Why is she not sleeping during the night? Why am I always anxious? Why,
right.
Like, am I so snappy? Like, if I had known that, certain things, her needs need to be put on the forefront, and also my needs, like the sleep deprivation. I had really bad postpartum depression for at least a year, but I didn't know because, of course, I wasn't telling anybody. All I knew was that I had this baby and everybody expected me to be so happy, and all I could do was cry. Like, my friends would call me, congratulate me, and I'd be like, I can't talk right now. I got a baby. And then I would just be miserable. So I feel like, when I was expecting my second one, I let everybody know, like, hey, I realized I had postpartum depression with my first. So can you just check up on me because I won't know.
Oh, see, that's fantastic. You were able to ask. That is really a big step, isn't it?
Yeah.
We actually put it out there.
Right. And then I also realized that how sleep was linked to depression, because I did some research when I was in the clear, but you don't always get that chance. And so I was telling everybody, like, hey, when I need a nap, like, let me nap. When I, and that was really hard for a superwoman because
it's like you're saying, hello, I have a little weakness called sleep.
Exactly. And you're feeling like there's something wrong with you, that you can't do it all because it seems like everybody else can. And I had like my in-laws and folks thinking like, why do you need a nanny? Why do you need, we're not so lucky to do that, and making me feel, guilty. And I had to drop all that. That right there, I remember thinking, they're not living in my house. They're not feeling what I'm feeling. I don't care about their opinion. Sorry.
Yeah.
They're not making my life better. They're not making my kids' life better. It's going to have to go.
That's brave. That's brave. Yeah.
Truth, I think a lot of people wish they could have help, but they didn't know to ask for help. And so, and then maybe they're resentful or, kind of shame you.
For sure. And I think that's parenthood in general. Like, there's this weird concept that's this whole old way that you just know. You don't need to know and get any advice, any help. You need to know. And as a mom, my God, you need to be a martyr. You need to just take care of everybody. There was no such thing of taking care of yourself. I mean, thank goodness, hopefully this next generation is getting it better and are like, hey, hang on a second.
Yes, I think
my needs matter.
If I could tell you a story about that, I remember when I had the first two, Zayda must have been maybe like 2. The baby was probably around 1 because they're like 2.5 years apart. So
it's a little,
got to do the math there. But I remember, I think it was like lunchtime or something, and I was like scrambling to give her something to eat, and then the little one, he needed, his stuff pureed, and I don't know, I was just like running around like crazy, and I sat down, and I was like, oh, good, everybody has their food. And my daughter, as young as she is way wise beyond her years.
Is she? Yeah.
Like, but mommy, what are you gonna eat? And I was like, you're right. And I almost said, oh, moms don't have time to eat, or
I went straight in.
But I grabbed myself. I was like, if I tell her that, she's gonna repeat this. And so I caught myself. I was like, you're right. And I got up, and who knows what I fixed myself. But she saw me do that, and now that has carried through. Like, I don't just ask for help from adults. Really, from them, I maybe I put a lot on them, but I'm trying to teach them that when they become older, that they have to ask, what their needs are. So sometimes I'll be like, mommy needs this. I used to have this rule. It's so funny. On the weekends, because weekends are just non-scheduled, right? So we would just wake up and, I'd give them breakfast. And by the time they were done eating breakfast, I would start to cook my food and they're ready for a snack. And I'm like, I haven't eaten yet. So I used to say, nobody eats twice until mommy's eaten once.
Love it, though. I love it. I totally love it. And I was crap at that. I was so crap at that. I'm still pretty bad at that. I'm still better at saying, oh, okay. Oh, you wanted this? Okay. And actually, I remember you saying once in our group that we were together, something along the lines of, putting yourself as a priority, that you don't go here, serve everybody else. You serve yourself first. That's just reminded me now that you serve yourself first and then you serve everybody. And I thought, God, wow. Yeah. Well, and for your sons and your daughter to see this is really life-changing.
Yeah. And I mean, of course, I feel like I falter with that, but I think more for the symbolism of it. I'm not going to take the scraps and whatever. Of course, you want to make sure you leave enough for everybody. And I still, have to put the little ones' food out and stuff like that. But that's good. I think that we were not really raised like that. And then, we'll let everybody eat and then we'll just be like, okay, whatever, I'll just get the scraps and go to bed resentful.
Right. Yeah. Go to bed resentful and hungry. Like these kids can eat. No, but I think it's in the big scheme, like you say, like the parenting differently there of just saying, like a big part of my coaching too is telling moms, like, you matter. You are this glue here. So you have to be the princess, the queen, the whatever. You need to be so important because that's what you are in the family. Mm-hmm. And you then demonstrate to people, hey, I love myself and I value myself. And that's how you teach. You don't have to tell your kids, oh, you're worthy. And meanwhile, they see you kind of like taking the scraps and, oh, don't worry, mommy doesn't matter. Here, you have the best this and the best that, right? I don't think that's right.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Awesome. Okay. Let's go to the next one. So differently, what are you doing different, do you think, than how you were raised? And were these conscious decisions when you were having your children that, heck, I ain't bringing that forward with me. I'm going to leave that back there.
Well, that's a really good question because I feel like I'm doing a lot differently in a lot of different phases of my life and parenting. So it's been like a complete turnaround in some ways. So I mentioned to you earlier, so I'm writing a memoir, and one of the things I'm writing about is the period when my mom passed, which is going on 8 years ago now. Okay. So that meant I had my two older kids, and then she passed, and then I had my younger one. So I get to, I clearly see the difference between parenting the older ones and the younger one, because when that happened, I gave myself permission to just look at everything with a critical eye. I just said, you know what, some of the stuff that she did obviously did not work for her, but I was afraid to question it while she was alive.
I see. Okay. Yeah.
So, you don't question what your parents do,
No, you do. Yeah. Yeah. You think.
Right. And so I gave myself permission to do that. And that's when I decided to do everything different. So my little one, his parenting is very different. I hope the older ones are also benefiting now. For sure. But in the beginning, I grew up like with a really strict religious upbringing. Okay. So everything with my first two was, what does the religion say to do here? And it was very kind of controlling. It was kind of prescriptive. It's like, okay, when this happens, you do this. When this happens, you do this. And so it was very, everything was dictated. So I would find myself saying things to Zeta like, well, we don't do that, or we don't believe this. Okay. And it wasn't until, like I said, I questioned everything that I was like, well, what do I believe? And why do I have the right to tell my kids what we believe?
Oh, wow. Okay.
I came to that realization, and I remember very clearly thinking, I didn't want, because I feel like kids they came from source, right? They're just so brand new. Yeah. I feel like they're full, of the purest information, and I didn't want to undo any of that. I wanted to,
right.
I wanted to, be like
the base for it, the support for it, right?
Like I want this soft, pillowy, area for them to bounce their ideas around and tell me what they thought. Now, of course, people think that's kind of crazy because they're so little. And so it was, kind of like, how are you going to let your toddler tell you? But it's interesting when you don't try to control them, what comes out. Because to me, I was, amazed sometimes, like my little ones would say, they would see, see people, right? I wouldn't tell them no. I wouldn't say, oh, there's no such thing, or, it's your imagination. So I encouraged all of that. And what's cool now is like, we'll speak in terms of, oh, I think my guardian angel sent me a message. And it's just things that they feel like saying. Yeah. And I love that because that's not how I was raised, but the way I see it through their eyes is there's unlimited possibilities. So who am I to tell them, well, this is only the box of possibilities?
Right. Holy, that is like life-changing. That is real gifts, because that to me is conscious parenting in a huge nutshell, in that this idea that you're being raised together and you're seeing them as they are, not with all the crap, not with all the, oh, if you do this, oh my God, the fear of this is gonna, or I don't have the religious side, but just in life in general, like, oh, if you're not telling them to do such and such, they're going to be ruined and spoiled forever. And you're kind of like, why would they be spoiled? Why would they not just be more open? Why would they, you don't just magically become spoiled. We're not spoiling people. Right. Like boundaries and rules and things of just how we live our life, right?
Right. And then, like you mentioned, the fear. So that was one big thing. I feel like I was definitely parented through fear and guilt and shame. It's like, don't do this or God will be mad. Or, if you don't, don't say prayers, don't finish your food. If you, of course, if you lie, like it's weird because even though I questioned everything, there were still things that I kept. And I still think lying is wrong, and things like that. But it didn't have the fear of immediate punishment attached to it. Because I think I had a friend once tell me, like, a sin is just a mistake. And I was like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, a sin, you will go to hell. What are you talking about? But he was like, no, it's a mistake. And with a mistake, you can choose differently. And I'm like, no, I don't. Like, those little concepts like that really messed with me. But so with the kids, when they make mistakes, I just ask them, like, well, what do you think would feel better? Or since you upset your sister, what do you think is the best thing to do right now?
And it's ownership, right? And it's real consequences of life. That's the teaching, right? And you sort of saying, I don't really know the answer, but what can you come up with, right? Yeah. They're so wise. They really are, and so that actually leads me on. So some of that is part of the next question would be, what from your childhood background, however you want to call it, did you really want to bring forward to your kids, like the good stuff, the stuff that you appreciate or would think, wow, that I like.
I really, really like the importance of respecting your elders. I think that I see a lot of kids who, will talk back to their parents and grandparents, or even like teachers and stuff. And I think that you have to have a level of respect for elders, but also, respecting, when you do that, you realize you should also respect, little ones too. So, but for us, it was impressed upon us to respect our elders. And, when you don't get used to speaking disrespectfully to people, it feeds everywhere. Like my kids, like if they are watching something, like we'll watch like Vines or something on YouTube, and the kids will like speak disrespectfully to their parents, their eyes will get big, like, oh my God.
Yeah. What's gonna happen to them? Yeah.
like how could they say that? And so I'm glad that they have that. And my daughter asked me recently too, like, Mommy, where did you get your morals from growing up? And I was like, that's an interesting question. Yeah. And I didn't have a good response for her off the bat.
Yeah.
But then I realized later, there were a lot of things I learned from growing up Muslim, that there were a lot of respectful, right and wrong. There were enough examples to where I could see that for myself. So I guess that ended up being my answer. But yeah, I think just the respect, just knowing right and wrong, and family, like, you know, just being really recognizing how important family was, and the ties of kinship and stuff like that.
Wow. Yeah, amazing. I mean, I think that as as our kids are growing, I think, let me talk for myself, that, you know, at the beginning you think, oh, my parents did this, or my parents, and you think of all the negative, and then as you go through, first you really think, shit, how hard this bloody parenting thing is. So
Right.
kudos to anybody who even makes it through, you know.
True.
And the other side being that you start to appreciate, say, oh, like we had a lot of laughter in our family. That was really huge, and it didn't ever feel like that was something to be proud of or pleased about, until I realized, wow, my gosh, the stuff you can get through if you can have some laughter, right?
Wow.
And if you can sort of enjoy some humor and some giggles together, you know, how, you know, and life can throw, as we know from lockdown, a lot of crap at you. But even before that, right? And sort of being able to sort of have some humor. I mean, my two kids, to me, are the funniest people I've ever met. Like, they are just hilarious. I guess it's my humor I didn't necessarily pass it on, but what they say and speak of is stuff that I find hilariously funny. So that's helped. That's helped save us.
And you probably have a hand in that, in creating the container where humor is important and cherished and, you know, encouraged, because not everyone has that. And you know, it, like my middle one is hilarious. He's our, you know, family clown. And but I know, like, I'm thinking back, like my father, he was very, very strict, and my middle brother was also, you know, very gregarious and stuff. So I'm trying to think, like, if it was my father parenting my middle one, I think he probably would be telling him, like, okay, that's enough, you got to get serious.
Right.
It was all about grades and stuff like that. So it's interesting because all three of them are so different, and trying to allow for each of their strengths, even though they're different from each other, and congratulating them on each of their strengths. You know, so it's like one is going for the good grades and the other one gets good grades, but he just wants to make people laugh. Like, if he can just make people laugh, like, you know, that's it, you know. So and me realizing now that, you know, that could be a career. Like, I understand why some of our parents were strict about, you know, certain things, because of course they're concerned that we're going to grow up and not be able to feed ourselves. But now everything's a career. Even if they spend all day on video games, it's going to be a career.
Oh my gosh, they're making a lot of money. Those people went from all the families who say, get off the bloody computer. They're like, oh, stay on the computer. That's a good job.
It's true. It's true. And it's funny. So I think part of that is the times, and we can see that, you know, that it's profitable in the other ways. And then also allowing for our parenting and what we believe is valuable, allowing that to change.
Yeah. Oh, whew. Absolutely. Oh, so I think you're answering all the questions I picked for you. We've sort of all coming in here. That's perfect.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, this one. So I guess lockdown changed it a bit, but how do you stay connected to each of your kids? So
it's funny, because I feel like it's still as much as we're spending time together, it's challenging still, because the time we're spending isn't necessarily fun time.
Right.
So, like, for the little one, I'm spending a lot of time with him, helping him with his schoolwork. The middle one, he's he'll just ask me every once in a while if he needs help. My oldest, she's completely independent.
Right.
So the other day she came to me and she was like, I don't get to spend so much time with you because I don't need that much help. And I realized in some ways she's getting punished for not needing me, you know, for being independent.
Yes.
And it's like, you know, when I plan my day, I don't plan to have to sit down with her. And so then with her, what I do, and like everybody has the different needs, right? So when we're done with schooling, she'll sit down, she'll bring me her computer, show me what she's working on. She's trying to be an actress. So I'm helping her, you know, with that. So it's like whatever is important to them, I try to make time to do that thing. So, you know, it's a little challenging. The middle one, I just let him make me laugh. That's That's so easy.
And he probably is like, yay, I got mom today. She's laughing.
He just loves it. Another thing that it's funny, I did not do this when they were younger. I wish I had, but reading to them at night, I know that's supposed to be like a thing that you just, I think I was too exhausted.
You're just like, done. We're done.
I'd get in bed with them and we would just all fall asleep.
Okay, yeah.
Mom's got an 8 o'clock bedtime. That's okay. And I'd wake up at some random hour.
Yes.
But so now they look for, it's so funny because as grown as they are, Zayda is really like a preteen. Her attitude, she's as tall as me now. I mean, it's crazy. But when I say, if you guys hurry up and, do bath time and whatever, I'll read to you. Like, they're just like, you gonna read this? And it's so cool. So that's something that when, like on my best days, I work that in. Fantastic. And they enjoy that.
And how beautiful that she's actually feel safe and open enough to even sort of say, hey, I don't get time with you. And you hear her. That's the key, because maybe kids say it. And if they get, oh, what do you mean? I was around you all day, right? They're really sort of saying, oh, I need to connect with you, right? And how lovely that she has a mummy who, I hear you. Okay, let's work that in. Let's work that around. And like you say, story time. I mean, I've always been amazed how much as a nanny, even when I had older kids, they love that. There's something really special about being read to. And you just be like, oh, alrighty, everybody in. I was only reading to the little one, but let's all go. And
it's so funny because all 3 of them literally still sleep in the same bed.
Yeah.
Like we built this new house. We've got enough room. We even got bunk beds for the boys, but they're all on the same. So it's like the 4 of us crowded in to read, and it's cute. And I don't mind it at all, because I'm like, I know it's not always going to be like this. And sometimes I'll sneak in the middle of the night and like take pictures of them sleeping, because it's just like,
you're like, look at them. Yeah.
I just love it. There was something you said that I think it brought it to my attention when you said that it's great that Zayda can let me know that she's needing more time and stuff. And I immediately had the thought that I probably used to get really defensive and say, well, you see how hard I'm working with this one. Da, da, da. But what I'm noticing now is that I've made it okay for me to let her know that I'm sorry. To be like, I'm sorry, you're right. And so I think that's why she doesn't mind saying that, because I'm not going to snap at her. Sometimes I do still snap.
We're not looking for perfection here.
Okay.
Because my kids will tell you 100%, this is not a perfect mummy right here. But so it's not that, but it's just like you say, it's that sort of you're growing with them, you're raising with them as you start to say, oh, hang on, she's a little, and she's actually saying something to me of a need of hers. And maybe you can't even take care of it then or whatever, but you could sort of say, you know what, on the weekend, at this time, you and me, let's go for, if we're allowed out, let's go for tea, or let's just sit together and paint, or whatever, right? Just as a way of saying, I hear you.
Yeah.
Gosh, some of that is, they just need to be heard.
Yeah. And that actually literally happened today. Like she came in, I was, I'd gotten out of the shower. I still needed some more time. Like I need my me time before I can, see the world. But she came in and wanted to show me something. She wanted to make a call for her acting thing. And I just told her, I was like, I really need my time. And I went on my little, somebody busted in the door and I wasn't ready. And you guys got to, I went off.
Yeah.
And she looked at me. She said, okay, mommy, I'll come back at 11 o'clock. That's 30 more minutes. Is that okay?
Oh, I love it.
And it's like we solve these problems together. I'm not making her the problem. They fully understand I need my time. And I think they know how much better I am afterwards.
Right.
They don't want to mess with
that. No. They're like, you go take your time. Mommy, did you have your time today? Because
exactly.
All snappy.
Yeah. And it's like we're all in this together. It's not, that, leave me alone. I'm mommy. I'll let you know when I can be bothered by you. It's not that. It's like, look, I know you need me. I need me first. And then I'm going to be great for you guys.
I love that. I need me first. Oh. I should write all this down. What am I doing?
It's so funny.
I'm in your book so I can read it and go, circle. I need more.
And will you please remind me of that when I forget?
Okay.
Like, remember what you said
every week. Yeah. I need me first, right?
Right. Yeah.
Wow. You're really like, doing it differently, like really changing the way society is. And I can't help but keep saying to the world, the old way of parenting is not working. We are not a happy, evolving society. We evolve in so many things, but if we don't start in the parenting world, right, evolving and changing the way we parent, nothing's changing. It's going to be the same, right? We're not going to get sort of people more confident with themselves or comfortable with themselves or feeling really wanted and seen and loved, and let them partake in the world. It's got to change.
Yeah, and I think what's so important about that too is when we do that, when we see them and honor them, that then whatever they came here to do, they can do.
Yeah.
They don't have to worry about, well, mom said this and dad said this and the teacher said this. It's like, what, you know, what feels right? What are my gifts? What feels good to share, honestly.
Yeah.
And let me go and do more of that.
Fantastic. Yeah. Not fulfilling your needs, your wishes, but their own. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. All righty. So, well, we'll wrap it up with one last question, and you can see how that sits. It's a more of a fun one. Was there any advice you were given as a first-time mum that you wished you had ignored?
Ooh. Oh my gosh. That one came.
No, I know. That wasn't on the list. That just came to me today.
Well, and the answer just came flying in. Yeah. Folks that said, don't hold the baby so much.
Gosh.
I always got that. Don't hold the baby so much. And I'm like, well, I can't hold him now. You know, like I realized as it went on that I won't be holding them that long, you know, and let me hold them, you know, while they're small, like when the baby cries, just let them cry it out.
Yeah. Oh,
whoa.
God, that is that old way. I know. Like you're going to spoil them. If you pick them up all the time, you're going to spoil them. Who the hell spoils a baby? A baby's a baby. They don't have any brain function for like, ooh, let me make sure my mum picks me up all the time, right? They don't know. That's not even in their heads.
I know if I do this, she'll come. Like, so I think definitely. I was afraid that I was, you know, just spoiling them, not knowing what I was doing, and I feel like I could have held on to them more, and it would not have hurt them.
Right. That's great.
It would have helped us bond more.
Yeah. But that's a fantastic one. Wish I'd ignored that. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Iffath. I've so enjoyed this. That was really fantastic. Got my brain racing on things too. And wow, lucky 3 kiddies there. I look forward to them as they go out into the world. You know, that's really sort of something. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it too.
Oh, good. And for listeners or viewers, just letting you know, so when this podcast and video goes out there, I'll post all the links so they can reach Iffath, and we'd look forward to her memoir, her book as well, and her lovely makeup line and all of these things. So we will post them all in the comments and they'll be able to reach out to you.
That sounds wonderful. Thank you.
All right. Awesome. Have a lovely evening. Take care.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.